Project Greenhouse was a series of co-creation workshops and it was a collaboration between the Dean's Office, Infrastructure, Chow and a think tank of industry experts, all lending our thoughts and expertise to the process. It was all about looking at the ACO teaching and learning directions, what that meant in terms of physical activity and the way that our spaces should support and enable those activities.
Project Greenhouse is trying to interpret and work with what are those new teaching and learning directions in order to create spaces that will encourage the right learning.
You look at a whole bunch of kind of trends that are happening across globally in terms of education and the type of teaching and learning delivery that is likely to happen because of those trends.
One of the more interesting things about the project for me was the fact that we were exploring a generic approach to teaching and learning spaces. So it wasn't specific to a discipline or a school, it was across all disciplines, across all schools and across all learning spaces. So that really allowed us to open up our minds and not get trapped by some of the detail and be able to think holistically about what our spaces look like.
So the series of Project Greenhouse wall walks that you can see behind me have been a great opportunity to publicise and show the rest of Wintec what we as a small group were doing, and then also provide feedback.
I think the brief for us was about designing a building that would be responsive to change, and that's change day to day, but also change over the next 5, 10, 20 years into the future. It was also about creating an environment for students that would be, vibrant and exciting and a really dynamic place to learn.
I think one of the standout things that I saw with the project was the fact that the groups that were created, when we came together, we all had created similar sort of needs for their learning spaces. So we all recognised things like the need for social spaces, but also personal spaces, the need for group learning and group teaching.
One of the things that was really important about Project Greenhouse was the fact that the outcomes of it were generated by the Greenhouse group themselves. So once we started to put together each of the team's activity spectrums, it was really important to us that we weren't discounting any ideas or any thoughts that had come out of that process. We wanted everyone to feel and to recognise that their thoughts and their opinions had been heard. There were no zones that we discounted or thought were unimportant. Everything made it through into the final product.
The different zones that we have, they look so awesome. I'm looking forward to what they actually look like in the future.
It definitely shows a huge variety of facilities and it gives a broad spectrum for whether it's really quiet individual learning all the way through to big group collaborations, and it definitely just holds everyone's ideas into one big overall project.
The activity spectrum itself is about facilitating variety and diversity to respond to a range of learner needs and different delivery methods under the ACO teaching and learning directions.
The exciting point moving forward is the opportunity to apply the teaching and learning directions and the corresponding activity spectrum to the new spaces that we design moving forward for Wintec.